Hi everybody, welcome to Need to Create. Today I'm going to show you how I make my potato flakes sandwich loaf.
This is my potato flake starter. I got it from a really good friend of mine. You may have also heard it called either an Amish or a friendship starter. So to feed my starter, I start out giving it a good stir. I take about a half a cup and put it into a nice clean mason jar. You'll obviously feed it more if you have a bigger recipe or you're doing multiple recipes. So for this feeding, I'm going to do 1.5 heaping tablespoons of potato flakes. Be sure it's the plain potato flakes and not flavored. Next, I'm going to add 3/8 of a cup of sugar. I usually do a 1/4 cup and then half of a 1/4 cup. Just makes it a lot easier. Once that's done, I add in a 1/2 cup of warm water. Then I give it a good stir. I typically feed my starter at night if I want to bake the next morning, or early morning if I want to bake that same afternoon. To make it easier to know when it's doubled, I take a rubber band and put it right at the top of the liquid around the mason jar. And that's it. Now we just wait for it to about double in size, which also means that it's reached peak and it's ready to bake with.
This took 7 hours. I start out with 3/4 teaspoons of salt. I then add 1/8 cup sugar, 3/4 cup water, a 1/4 cup of oil. I give my active starter a good stir, and then I add 1/2 cup of active starter to the rest of the ingredients. I give it a bit of a stir, add my flour. Recipe calls for 3 cups. I then mix really well with a wooden spoon. And once it gets really challenging, I'll get rid of the wooden spoon and use my hands. It just seems to make the process a little bit easier and quicker. I do this until it feels like there's no more dry spots and everything seems to be relatively well incorporated. Next, I do the aliquot method, where I take 40 grams of the dough, put it into a 2-ounce container, and then stick it right back in the middle of the main dough. Cover it up with a shower cap until the cup is completely full, and then it's ready to shape. If you don't have the cups, you can also eyeball it to where it's about doubled. I stretch my dough into a rectangle. I fold it like a letter, left side, right side, and then I roll it up. Pinch the edges a little bit, pull it taut so I have a relatively tight skin. Now it's ready for its second rise. Once it's relatively close to double in size, it's ready to bake. Pop it in a preheated oven at 350 degrees until the internal temperature reaches between 200 and 205 degrees. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Golden brown to perfection. I wait for about an hour before cutting. Now that it's cooled, it's ready to cut. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you like my videos. Look at that beautiful, soft, gorgeous sandwich loaf ready for a sandwich of your choice. I'm absolutely obsessed with how soft and delicate and beautiful this sandwich loaf comes out. Look how light and fluffy that is. Check out the recipe in the description. Thanks so much for watching.